My brother-in-law, Tim, who treated me with so much kindness, just like a real brother, passed away. It was truly sudden. In Tim's casket, there were beautiful flowers, mementos, and family photos. As I glanced at one of the photos inside the casket, I noticed a clearly malicious photo. At that moment, I was certain. Tim didn't take his own life. He was murdered by someone. Then I remembered something Tim had said to me.
If anything ever happens to me,
I couldn't just sit still and dashed out to the company. Yes, that's it. I ran as fast as I could and finally reached the company where. My name is Mike Murphy. I'm just an ordinary office worker. A few years ago, I married Emily, who works at the same company, and we've been living a happy life. However, Emily is not an ordinary office lady. She's the daughter of the company's president. When you hear president's daughter, you might imagine someone snobby and spoiled, but Emily is the exact opposite. She's calm and kind. She's always smiling and has established herself as the soothing presence in the office. Everyone says, when you're feeling down, just look at Emily's smile and you'll feel better. Since I'm just an ordinary office worker who happened to marry the president's daughter, my colleagues and other employees often tease me, saying, "You'll be the next president, won't you?" But of course, such a story-like scenario is highly unlikely. 95% of the time, I don't even think about it. That's because Emily has talented brothers. The family of the president, John Smith, has 3 children. The eldest is Tim, the second is Emily, and the youngest is Alex. Naturally, the whispers about the next president candidate often revolve around Tim and Alex. It would be easy to say it's because they're the president's sons, but that's not the only reason. Both of them are exceptionally talented employees. Tim and Alex work in different departments, but they consistently top the performance charts in their respective areas. They're probably sharing their achievements, competing with, and challenging each other to improve. Of course, there are other capable employees as well. But for now, there's no one who can match up to those brothers. On top of that, being the president's sons, it's only natural that one of them will be the next president. So, as a son-in-law, I don't see myself having a chance. Besides, even if I were suddenly appointed president, I wouldn't have the confidence to handle it. I'm that kind of timid person. In the same department as me, there's my brother-in-law, Tim. I've always been able to watch Tim's impressive work up close, so I know how hard he works to achieve those excellent results. Some people might call it riding on his parents' coattails, but I know that's not the case. Tim is incredibly kind, generous, and supportive. He really feels like my big brother. Even when I, a timid person, make a mistake at work and get down about it, Tim always notices and comes over to talk to me.
Mike, what's wrong? You look down. Did something happen?
That day, I had made a rather troublesome mistake and was feeling down about having to fix it one by one, with only an hour left before the deadline. At such times, Tim would always appear out of nowhere and speak to me. "Oh, Tim, actually, it's my first time handling a project like this. It's urgent, but this part here, everything's slightly off. I thought I had just finished it."
Let me see. This. I did the same thing once and panicked too.
Really? You did, Tim?
It's not that surprising. Everyone starts as a newbie. Besides, something like this isn't as big of a deal as the mess I made back then. We can fix it quickly.
Really? I couldn't believe that even someone as capable as Tim had made mistakes like mine, but he always offered kind words to encourage me.
Mike, don't worry so much. Try doing this here. Yes, just like that. Now, see this?
Yes, it's fixed.
See? I told you it could be fixed quickly, didn't I?
You're amazing, Tim. Thank you.
Mike, you always make things seem so dramatic. Now, this should make it in time, right? Mike, as I've always said, if you have any concerns or things you're hesitant to share with someone, talk to me first. Though, like this time, we might not always solve it right away.
I have the utmost respect for Tim. I can't thank him enough. Moreover, he doesn't treat me well just because I'm Emily's husband. He treats everyone this way. That's why he has earned the trust of the employees. Many employees rely on him, and he has resolved numerous troubles. His ability to handle situations flexibly is impressive. He's truly remarkable.
All right, Mike, keep up the good work. Go for it.
Yes, thank you. Someday, I hope I can be like him. Waving lightly, Tim left. As I watched him, he took a can of coffee from his desk and handed it to the janitor while chatting.
Kenny, thank you for always keeping things clean. Here, this is for you.
Hi, Tim. You always treat me well. I think I've received as many coffees from you as my salary.
The janitor laughed heartily. His name is Kenny. He's been working as our janitor for decades, and Tim, Emily, and Alex have known him since they were kids.
That's an exaggeration. I appreciate all you do. How about we have lunch together on your day off?
Tim, I don't want you to treat me or do anything special. Just talking to me and being kind like this is enough to make my job worthwhile.
Really?
Yes, watching you siblings grow up and become respectable is like watching my own kids grow. It's fun, though I guess the president might not feel the same.
In our department, Tim is the only one who is so friendly with Kenny. I greet Kenny, but we don't talk much. Tim's kindness to everyone, including Kenny, makes me respect him even more. Growing up as an only child, I imagined how great it would be to have a brother like Tim.
Also, Emily got married, right? I wondered what kind of guy she'd marry, and he seems so kind. He even greets an old guy like me, though he seems a bit timid.
Suddenly, they were talking about me, so I listened more intently.
He's a reliable and kind person who gets things done. Just as Kenny said, he's exceptionally kind.
Well, if Tim acknowledges him, then I can be at ease. Tim, Emily, and Alex are all outstanding and respectable. But, it's Alex.
What's wrong with Alex?
You see, Tim often talks to me like this, right? Alex used to be so sweet, calling me uncle all the time. But lately, when I greet him with a "Hey, Alex," he just glances at me and quickly looks away. And sometimes he even says things like, "How long are you going to be here?" Or, "You're in the way." He's excellent at his job, but his attitude. Why has he become so cold?
I was listening intently since they were talking about me. Honestly, I've only met Alex a few times at my wedding to Emily. Since we work in different departments, I didn't know him well, but unlike my brother-in-law Tim, he seemed like a cold person. But Tim is so kind, and Emily is so gentle. Could their brother really be like that? It was hard to believe. One day, I forgot all about those rumors. Significant projects landed in my department. This project was said to have the potential to greatly influence the company's future. For a long time, employees had been wondering which department would handle it, and today, the president himself came to give us an overview. During his explanation, the president, John, said,
"If this project succeeds, I'm considering passing the CEO position to my eldest son, Tim."
Hearing that, the employees, including myself, exclaimed, "Oh!" It's not that we dislike the current president, but if this project's success meant Tim would be the next president, we'd be thrilled. For those of us who have worked in the same department as Tim, having someone like him who genuinely engages with each employee and is considerate become the president would be a dream come true. The company's future would surely be secure. Our department, which admired Tim, united wholeheartedly to support him and ensure the project's success. At first, Tim said,
Prioritize your work.
but as days went by, he began relying on our enthusiasm. Tim, here are the results of the research you requested.
Oh, thanks. Let's see. Yes, Mike, your reports are always so clear and easy to understand. It's really helpful, thank you.
Come on, you taught me how to organize them like this, Tim.
Sure, I taught you the basics, but here, you added your own touch, didn't you? These little details are important, and that's what makes your reports great.
You noticed it, right? It's a bit embarrassing when you say it like that.
There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Over the years, I've taught the same method to many people, not just you, Mike. Some might say I'm biased, but honestly, your reports are the clearest and easiest to understand. So be confident. I'm counting on you from now on too.
Yes, thank you. No matter how busy Tim was, he never ended a conversation with just a few words. He always found something good about the person and praised them. This way, he motivated the employees and truly engaged with each one. Seeing Tim's attitude made us all want to work harder. About a month later, it was the day of the project presentation. Tim delivered a flawless presentation with confidence, earning a huge round of applause. The project was a success, and the president officially announced,
"I will nominate Tim as the next CEO at the upcoming shareholder meeting."
We had all supported Tim, but this time it was truly his character that led to the project's success. Tim, you did it. You're finally going to be the CEO. I knew you could do it.
Mike, thank you so much. This success is because of everyone's cooperation, especially yours. I can't thank you enough.
Tim, while being humble, had a sparkle in his eyes. Experiences like this don't happen often in a lifetime. Seeing Tim's genuinely happy expression moved me deeply. There's no need to thank me. Seeing how you work, anyone would want to follow your lead. Just then, a female voice called out.
Hello.
Looking towards the voice, I saw my wife Emily and my brother-in-law Alex. Seeing Alex reminded me of what Kenny had said about him, making me a bit wary.
Hey, Tim. Oh, Mike, too. I heard about it. Amazing job. Congratulations, Tim.
Emily and Alex, you came all the way here? I'm sorry, you must have work to do.
Come on, Tim. Our family's eldest son becoming the next CEO is a big deal. We had to be here. Congratulations. I don't think I could ever catch up to you.
Alex spoke to Tim with a smile. Towards the end, his expression seemed to darken a bit. But, contrary to Kenny's gossip, Alex didn't seem like a cold person. I decided not to think too deeply about Kenny's rumors. One day, a while later, today was my day off. The big project was over, work had settled down, and we were free from the hectic days. Feeling drained, I was lounging lazily on the couch at home. I heard the buzz of a vibrating smartphone. Is it mine? I looked at the table behind me and saw that it was Emily's phone ringing. She answered it as usual.
Hello, this is Emily.
She replied cheerfully at first, but her voice gradually grew quieter. That's what I thought, but Emily's voice gradually became quieter. She kept repeating responses like huh and what, as if she didn't understand. Sensing something was wrong, I looked at Emily, and her face had turned pale as if she was about to faint. She was responding in a daze. When the call ended, she dropped her phone. Emily, are you okay? What's wrong? I cautiously approached Emily, and she stared into the distance, her expression unchanged, tears streaming down her face. Emily, get a grip. Are you okay? What happened? Did someone say something to you? I had never seen Emily like this before. Not knowing what to do, I desperately wanted her to speak and kept asking questions. Then, in a strained voice, she mumbled something. Emily, I'm sorry. What did you say?
My brother Tim is dead.
In a daze, I hurriedly put Emily in the car and drove to my in-laws' houses. I couldn't comprehend what was happening. Did Tim have a medical condition? No, I had never heard anything like that. Emily had never mentioned it either. Being told something like that out of the blue made no sense. My mind was racing, and I couldn't stop sweating nervously. What on earth had happened? The Tim I respected so much. When we arrived at my in-laws' house, my mother-in-law greeted us immediately. Seeing our pale faces, she seemed to understand why we were there. She invited us to sit on the living room sofa, and we sat down. It's about Tim, right? My mother-in-law said, and Emily and I urgently asked her what had happened to Tim. My mother-in-law began to speak slowly. She occasionally teared up, looking deeply pained. As unbelievable as it was, Tim was undoubtedly dead. He had been found bleeding behind the company building and was immediately taken to the hospital, but he was pronounced dead on the scene. It appeared that Tim had jumped from the company building. There was a note, and from its contents, it was concluded to be a suicide. It was suspected he jumped because it happened in a blind spot of the security cameras. In other words, Tim jumped without anyone seeing. Tim, why did you do such a thing? With his appointment as the next CEO, the employees, and surely Tim himself, were looking forward to the company's future. Why now, just when everything was about to begin? But the dead tell no tales. Why he chose to leave this world so suddenly, I couldn't understand. Was Tim struggling with something? Even though I was so close to him, I only relied on him and couldn't truly help him. I couldn't do anything. And then the day of his funeral came. Many people attended the funeral of the well-liked Tim. In addition to my in-laws, my family, and all the employees from Tim's department were present. Kenny, the janitor, was also there, looking extremely upset. He had lost Tim, someone he was very close to. His grief must have been immense. Even now, a few days later, everyone looks somber. Part of me still thought that Tim might just walk into the office one day as if nothing had happened. I approached Tim's casket. Inside, along with Tim, were beautiful flowers and mementos. I wished he would wake up and say it was all a prank. As I looked at Tim's peaceful face and felt the deep sorrow overwhelming me, I suddenly noticed a family photo in the casket. I had heard that placing a photo in the casket means taking those pictured with you to the afterlife. I never believed in such superstitions, but if it turned out to be true and I lost anyone else, I didn't think I could handle it. I picked up the photo to take a closer look. It showed my in-laws, Emily and Alex. But one face was blacked out with a marker. In the family photo, Tim's face was deliberately blacked out. I see. I was convinced. At that moment, I had no evidence, but I knew it. Tim didn't take his own life. Someone killed him. Someone made it look like a suicide. Believing this wholeheartedly, I couldn't sit still and ran to the office. Yes, that had to be it. I hadn't run this hard since I was a student. When I finally reached the office, I headed straight for Tim's desk. It hadn't been cleared yet. I opened Tim's laptop and powered it on. Before his death, Tim had given me a note out of the blue.
Mike, here. Can you keep this for me?
Tim, what's this note for?
It's a sign of trust. It's my computer password.
What? Why are you giving me something so important?
In case something happens to me.
Tim's smile had turned oddly serious. Looking back, maybe he had sensed something. Come on, Tim. Don't say things like that.
Just kidding. But, you know, if I get sick or something, I might need you to send some data.
You should manage it yourself. Are you sure you trust me with this?
Come on, just keep it. You might not need it, but just in case, okay? Hold on to it.
If you insist, but I'm scared I might accidentally delete something important. I hope the day never comes when I have to use it.
I hope so too.
I quickly searched my desk drawer for the note Tim had given me. With trembling hands, I entered the password and started searching through the many files for any clues. I had completely forgotten that Tim had entrusted me with his computer password for an emergency. How could I have forgotten until now? I went through the files one by one, but they were all work-related documents. Tim had handled a lot of work, so there were numerous files. It seemed like a small chance. Just as I was about to give up, I found a 15-minute audio file. All right, I'll listen to this while continuing my search. I connected my headphones and played the audio. I could hear some rustling noises and then Tim's voice. And the person he was speaking to seemed to be Alex.
Hey Tim, you gotta understand. Just because that succeeded doesn't mean I'm not the more capable one. Stop clinging on and give me the CEO position.
Seriously, the voice I heard was Alex's, but it was filled with resentment, nothing like the kind and supportive brother who had celebrated Tim's appointment as CEO.
Yeah, Alex, you are talented, and I think I understand what you're trying to say.
So you're finally stepping down. Do you know how many years I've waited for this?
No, Alex, that's exactly why I can't hand over the CEO position to you.
Damn, you son of a.
Tim spoke calmly, trying to reason with Alex. Even when Alex intimidated him, his tone remained unchanged.
Alex, your skills are essential to this company. Many rely on your capabilities. But I love this company and the employees. I want to cherish them. That's why.
Shut up. You keep spewing that nonsense. If you could protect the company with such naive thoughts, you might as well be playing house.
Alex, please, think it over calmly.
Fine. I got it.
Alex, do you really understand?
Yeah, it means you need to disappear from here.
What did you say?
I said, I'll make you disappear, so I can take over as CEO. That's the only way. Be ready, Tim.
Footsteps fading away, the sound of a door closing. After hearing this, I immediately called the police. I explained the situation to the officers who arrived and rushed with them to the funeral home.
Mike, where have you been? You ran off suddenly, and I was so worried. At least answer your phone. I was terrified something might have happened to you too.
As soon as I returned to the funeral home, Emily ran to me, tears in her eyes. Emily, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to worry you at a time like this, but I had to find out something about Tim. Emily, noticing the police officer standing beside me as I desperately apologized, gasped and bowed slightly to the officer.
Something concerning. And you brought a police officer here? What's going on?
Please, come with me for a moment. I led Emily and the officer to where Alex was. Alex, can we talk for a minute? I called out to Alex, who was sitting on a folding chair and staring into the distance. Alex turned his head towards me. When he saw the police officer behind me, his eyes widened slightly and he flinched, but then he asked suspiciously,
What do you want?
Alex, it was you, wasn't it?
What are you talking about?
You killed Tim. It was you, Alex. My voice, strained and desperate, came out louder than I intended. Everyone in the room heard me and turned to look. The room fell silent.
Wait. No. What are you saying, Mike? You can't be serious, especially today.
Alex quickly stood up, forcing a nervous smile. He acted as if he had no idea what I was talking about. Don't play dumb. There was a recording on Tim's computer of your conversation. You pressured him to give up the CEO position, and you even said you'd make him disappear if he didn't. As I spoke, Alex looked uncomfortable, but he quickly returned to his "I don't know anything" expression and started speaking smoothly.
Come on, Mike, calm down. Even if I said that to Tim, do you have any concrete evidence that I actually killed him? Any records like that recording?
I was stuck. Indeed, I didn't have definitive proof that Alex killed Tim. The room was silent. Desperately trying to think, I suddenly heard a loud voice from across the room.
I saw it. Alex, I saw him.
The voice came from Kenny, the janitor.
Damn it. That old man, Kenny.
Alex muttered under his breath. Kenny continued speaking loudly.
I saw it. Alex called Tim to the conference room and they were talking. I was curious and pretended to clean the hallway while eavesdropping. Then, suddenly, Alex started yelling. He said, "You damn brother, I'm more capable, yet you won't give up the CO position. I could just get rid of you right now." Then he kept pushing Tim until he was backed up against the window, and Alex opened the window and pushed Tim out.
Everyone, including me, listened to Kenny's story, stunned and unable to hide our shock. But hearing this, Emily's anger flared and she began to cry out.
Kenny, if what you said is true, why didn't you report it immediately? Why didn't you consult someone right away? Were you planning to keep silent until someone brought it up? Did you just watch and let Tim die?
Emily, please forgive me. I never meant to let Tim die. Emily, please forgive me.
Then why? Why didn't you do anything?
Alex, he threatened me into silence.
At Kenny's words, everyone turned to look at Alex again.
I saw Alex push Tim out of the window. I was so shocked I couldn't move, and then Alex came out of the conference room and saw me. He asked if I saw what happened. I was scared and said no at first, but then he yelled at me until I admitted I saw it. Then Alex said this to me.
Don't you dare tell anyone about this. If you do, I'll get you fired immediately. And it won't stop at that. I'll make sure you can't find work anywhere else. And you won't be able to live a normal life. It won't just be you. I'll drag your wife and kids into this too. I'll make them fly like I did to Tim.
I'm old. I've been a janitor here for a long time. If I got fired from here, I wouldn't be able to find another job easily, and I couldn't survive. And worse, my wife and kids could suffer because of me. So I was terrified. Looking back, I should have had the courage to tell someone. I'm such a fool. Please forgive me, Tim.
Kenny collapsed into tears. Meanwhile, Alex looked guilty and stared at the floor. He muttered, "Damn it," and began to speak softly.
I've been compared to my brother Tim all my life. Since we were kids, I could never beat him. It was frustrating. Why should I always be compared to him just because I was born a little later than such a talented guy? I could never win, so I worked insanely hard. I pushed myself to the brink of death with work. But no matter how well I performed and surpassed him, our parents always saw him as the CEO. Isn't that unfair? The best person should be the top of the company. So I told Tim that, but he wouldn't acknowledge it. He wouldn't step aside, so I had to make him understand. But he never did, so I had no choice but to get rid of him. I did it for the company, to keep it performing well and progressing.
Alex. I interrupted Alex, who was talking about his jealousy towards Tim, and sat him down, saying I had something important to tell him. I found this document on Tim's computer. When I was going through the files, I found a message addressed to you. Please read it. I handed Alex the printed document.
To Alex, if you are reading this, I am probably no longer in this world. I don't like to think about it, but...
The document began with this line and contained Tim's thoughts on how he wanted Alex to lead if he became CEO.
I want you to be a kind leader. Talent alone won't make employees follow you. Employees are the company's treasure. You're talented enough to do this. It shouldn't be too hard for you. So, be kind and considerate. If you can become such a person, I will gladly support you as the CEO. And if I could be there with you, we could grow the company together.
As Alex read the letter from Tim, tears streamed down his face. Tim always praised you as being very talented, Alex. Hearing my words, Alex collapsed to the ground, crying loudly.
Tim, I'm so sorry.
He kept crying and apologizing. Alex was then taken away by the police. In the trial that followed, Kenny and I testified as witnesses. Kenny's testimony was decisive, and Alex was found guilty. Some time passed, and you might wonder what happened to the CEO candidate. Well, it came to me, with Tim gone and Alex serving his sentence. My wife Emily has been mentally affected by the whole incident and is currently on leave. Therefore, being the one closest to Tim, who learned a lot from him, I, Emily's husband, was promoted to department manager and became a candidate for the CEO. Honestly, I never expected to be in this position, so I'm anxious. Especially because Tim isn't here to consult with anymore. Tim, do you think I can do this? I muttered, holding Tim's photo.
You can do it.
I heard Tim's voice behind me. I turned around instinctively, but Tim wasn't there.
Mike, what should I do about this?
Mike, I'm sorry, I messed up here.
Mike.
Mike,
I prioritize being kind, supportive, and empathetic to everyone, just like Tim was. If I do that, even someone prone to mistakes like me can inspire everyone to work together, trust me, and follow my lead. If I can become a supportive manager and CEO. Watch over me, Tim. I placed Tim's photo on my desk and got back